Welcome again to Intentionalist podcast. Thank you for being here. I suppose that you watched episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Welcome to episode 4. If you haven't, I really invite you to go back and watch that again because it's a sequence of episodes that are supposed to help you get inspired, motivated to live an intentional life. I'm your host. My name is Coach Alice Mohirwa. I am on an intentionalist journey. I created this podcast to help other women in the same era to find comfort into hearing other women who are willing to share their personal journey on their professional transition, divorce, menopause, childbirth, career transition, life transition. Intentionalist is like the big sister who is willing to talk about her journey so that you can also fetch few tips that you might not get easily. It is also like a middle ground for you to get a repertoire of where to find experts in a field that you feel like you need help. I'm bringing in different coaches, different professionals, different women who are willing to share their personal journey on different facets of life. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about femininity. You have had femininity, masculinity in so many areas. How do we embrace femininity after divorce? What does that look like? What are the benefits of embracing confidence? What are the benefits of embracing femininity in confidence? What are the benefits of becoming more and allowing yourself to come back to the life, embracing life as it is, as it comes, not holding on what you thought is happily ever after? I have two guests with me, Sonnie and Wangu. These are amazing women who have experienced divorce or who are on their separation journey. They will take us through their personal experiences with those situations, their personal experiences with femininity and embracing ease, and really letting go and giving yourself a second chance to love yourself, trust yourself, deliver your mandate as a woman, that is parenting, work, and social obligations as life throws them to us. So welcome, Sonnie, to Intentionalist Podcast.
Thank you so much, Alice.
Welcome, Wangu.
Thank you, Coach Alice.
Yeah. So would you tell us more a bit about yourself?
So thank you for having me here today. I'm very delighted to be part of your podcast. My name is Sonnie. That's a nickname for Mudhoni. My official government names are Carolyne Njagi. I am 40 years old. I am a mother of 2 girls. Professionally, I'm a magistrate, and I'm also a graduate psychology student, and I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. And you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Wangu Munyue. I'm a mom of 2 girls as well. I'll be 40 later this year. Exciting.
Yes.
They say life begins at 40.
Really? We will see.
We're waiting to find out.
Yeah.
Yes, professionally, I work in the marketing space. I run a marketing and comms agency, and I also own a lifestyle brand. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
That's great. These amazing ladies, I know them on a personal level, but we are going to talk more about how we navigated divorce or separation, how we chose to go back into life and really helping us. We are going to lay it down. This is a safe space for us to share our personal journey with you. I will start by introducing this chapter of my life. I'm in my second marriage. I have been divorced for 7 years before I enter into my current relationship. I have been a single parent all that time. So I have a share on that particular journey, how it feels like and how daunting and demanding it is to yourself as a person, to the community, and also to the rest of the friends and people, the kind of influence, the pressure that comes with it. Being into that space, how would you define femininity? And how did you embrace it as a person?
I don't know where to start, but maybe I could start with when I got divorced so that I could lay a background.
Yes.
So I was married for 7 years before I got separated. Then I was separated for 2 years. Then I filed for divorce. And I got divorced in November 2019.
Yes.
So this is the 5th year. Yeah, this is the 5th year. So I don't think initially you think about femininity because so much is happening at the same time.
True.
But I think when I started embracing myself as a woman was when I realized that I was raising girls. I knew I had daughters all along, but it suddenly hit me, I think after my divorce, that I was raising daughters. And I didn't want to raise daughters in an environment where their mother was angry and bitter. And I was angry and I was bitter because I never envisioned myself not married. So around that time is when, because of what I was going through, because it was very difficult, I decided to, as I was praying, because I pray a lot, I felt I needed to go to therapy just to deal with I couldn't really quantify what I was feeling. So I thought I could do therapy. And then in the middle of therapy is when I thought, okay, actually, I'm a woman. These things seem basic. But I think it comes hitting you over and over again. And then so I did therapy over a period of time. And then now I decided to, and then I met Coach Alice. And I think around that time is when just certain things about myself started to wade off that I realized were not very feminine. So I would say how to embrace femininity in the middle of divorce or separation is first acknowledge the space that you're in. That is very new and very painful at the same time. So just embracing the duality of it all and then just seeing myself now as a woman and asking yourself, how do I navigate this more productively in the middle of all this neuroticism and all this pain? How do I navigate this productively and not lose myself as who I am? Because femininity is innate. It's in you. It's not something you go and pick up like a flower, or it's who you are. So just trying to find that person, even in the midst of everything that you're going on, I think is an ongoing process, and nobody ever really reaches a destination. That's what I would say.
What is your share on femininity? How did you encounter femininity in the first space?
I feel like maybe it's odd, but I had the luxury of living while still in the marriage. I had the luxury of seeking healing before I got separated. And so it's, when you're really hard place and you don't know what's happening, so you're seeking therapy first for yourself to try and fix the situation, then you realize perhaps this is not fixable. So I got the hardest bit was while still there. And that's at the point I sought therapy. So by the time I was getting separated, it was more like, let's just do life,
The acknowledgement that this is gone.
Yes. And so because the beauty of going through that pain while still there is that sometimes it's really painful and daunting, but sometimes it's hopeful. So trying to get therapy at that level, now when I look back, I'm like, I thank God for that privilege. So I didn't get the anger was probably inside because I'm trying to change you, or I'm trying to fix a human, So by the time I got out, it was more like, let's like, like we can actually now enjoy life. Anxiety is out, and such like things. I liked what Sonnie said, like femininity is
inner work.
In inner work, and then it's internal. And then there's something beautiful about pain. And so there's something beautiful about that season. Pain is powerful, Sometimes it's it's really, sometimes when you're out here and you're strong and you miss the point, you miss the building, you miss the pain nurtures you, pain makes you soft, pain makes you, so that whole, I feel like also that's how I found my femininity, because then now you're soft in your corner.
Yes.
And then you discover it's not the worst thing that could happen, actually, It's truly not the worst thing. In fact, I want to be like this. I don't want to be a soldier on the streets.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have a different perspective on it, because when I actually accepted that this can't be fixable any longer, I approached my dating both when I was in my masculine, like highest masculine, where you feel like I have to do my best to make this work. I have to deliver. I have to make sure this is it. And after betrayal one, someone telling you, I'm sorry, it is not going to happen again. And it happens maybe with a higher mileage or a higher intensity, more audacity. The problem was not the person, honestly. The problem was the anger I had was the anger toward myself. That how stupid am I to always allowing the same person to hurt me over and over again. What took me to healing was not even the circumstances or the things that happened. It was being hard on myself, how stupid I am. Now self-criticizing myself, talking negatively about myself. You are this woman who excel in school, who excel in career. I thought excellence should be everywhere. I thought in relationship I should also have an A+. So when it hit me that actually relationship is a school of its own, then accepting a C level or D level or E level was so hard. So trying to fix until it is not fixable, it was in my masculine. So once I divorced, I kept rolling in my masculine throughout my singlehood, because I was still in school. I had to now make more money. I have to cater for 2 kids. I have to take care for many things. I have another extended family. And also live. So that coping of drinking, going out. My coping mechanism. Let's talk about the coping. How did you cope with loneliness? What was your coping mechanism? Before we enter into how you transition toward embracing ease and all that.
And I think that's what we don't really talk about.
Yes.
Because it's easier to talk about the finished product other than the process.
Yes.
So I think I went into my most ratchet zone.
Yeah.
I can really go into autopilot.
Yes.
So I went into performance. I needed to do a lot anyway. Suddenly you have courts, you're being sued. And you have to put up a face, you have to work, you need the job anyway, you have bills to pay, the children are young and they're looking at you also, you're also crying all the time. So I think it's quite messy and ugly.
Yeah.
But I think one of my coping mechanisms was sleeping a lot, more than usual, and when you're awake, you're drinking, hanging out with friends, and you'll never lack those people to...
Yes,
the
energy suckers are always around.
I know.
You will not lack people to do that with. And although I wasn't an alcoholic, but I realized I started even just having a little wine, an extra drink at home.
Just by like enjoying the company.
Yes, and enjoying the company and most of the company, because what happens with divorce mostly is that people choose sides. And it's automatic that people will choose sides. So many people who we were joint friends with picked sides. So you find there's a fragmentation in your friendships and in your relationships. Even with family, it happens a lot. So you just gather around whoever has chosen your side. Some may not be very good for you. Some are. But you just rally around those people and just whatever their coping mechanisms is for whatever issues they're going through life as you are, then now you find that that's what you end up doing. So for me, it was just, if I wasn't home, I was hanging out with people who, and it didn't seem strange really, because it's just a glass or two, have a little whiskey here and there, have a glass of gin or whatever, and just to try and cope with what you're feeling. But when you go home,
yes, oh God,
now finally, you will have to end up going home.
Yes.
I think that's when it really bites.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm here thinking about it, especially because I feel like I dealt with a lot while still inside.
Yes.
Friends,
Yeah.
I was busy
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah.
Oh, my pre-COVID, I was busy. Like, I was always at work. Always.
Because you have lost somewhere, you want to compensate through over.
There's something that's not
overproducing.
working, and it's such a big thing that's
Yes.
not
Big thing.
working.
Yes.
And as you said, no one ever gets into this with an exit plan.
Yes, true. I agree.
No matter how bad it is,
Yes.
there's, by the time you get to the exit plan, that thing is normally hard. It's so hard to, because in your head you try everything. You're like, maybe X plus Y was there. Now let's do X plus. You try if there are formulas that women could write in both.
I agree.
We'd wake up every morning and there's something ongoing. So I think it was work. I think friends a lot, and like TV and Netflix, and like when you're home, you're always on something. If I'm not with my kids, I'm
So
onto
your
a
coping
series.
mechanism was most for
When I can't sleep,
becoming
I'll wake up and
workaholic, work.
I'll put, no, if I can't sleep, I'll now put a night season.
Yeah.
And then it's 4 a.m. and then I'm like, okay, cool, let's do this new day.
Yeah.
And then the cycle continues.
Yeah.
Yeah. You crash at some point though. You crash.
Yeah,
you do crash.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same because it was work. If there were things that I really performed so well work-wise was in that season. And that's when I got even the courage to go and do my master's regardless. And after that, it was, I wasn't good with alone time. Because when I'm alone, that's when my internal devils come back to talk to me.
You have to deal.
Yeah, you have to deal. How do you allow this to happen?
Yeah.
How do you, so, because I wasn't that good into discussing self-criticism or to silence those inner voices that give me that bad. So I would rather hang out with friends, with cousins, because I was also, this is the thing, being an introvert, you don't know how to make friends organically. You don't know how to, let relationship comes. So what I would do, I would impose. Are you free? Let's go out. Let's have a drink. And that drink most necessarily is not necessarily a drink. It's for me to pass time and make sure we go back home very tired, and I will just knock off and sleep. So I developed my coping area was alcohol a lot, and never wanting to go home. And remember, I have 2 young kids, 2 babies who really need my presence. And one thing that really hurt me, my youngest sister was also staying with me. She was still in campus. It's one time I went home almost at 4 a.m., super drunk, and I could not even remove my belt. I just slept on top of the bed. And in the morning, the kids had the tendency to come and sleep on my bed. My daughter came and say, "Mommy, there's something smelling like poo-poo here."
Oh no.
Yeah, you say that hangover smell.
Yeah.
I can barely remove my head up, and I'm like, "Oh, really?"
The bed is swinging. At that time, the bed is just rotating.
And I can't even stand properly. So I woke up and tried to stand, walked in the bathroom. I could not hold myself, and I started vomiting endlessly. And the first, once you finish vomiting, the way you look up in the mirror, and I hated that face that I saw while walking up like that. And I say, Alice, is this really how you want to end up? You better really do internal work. Yeah. And the following day, we were to do a road trip. I woke up and called my cousin, you know what? I'm not coming. I'm sick.
Yeah.
And that's how I started going back into myself. And what is that thing that is in me that I always want to be around people that I don't even like in the first place, simply because I can't silence my inner devils. And I started saying, okay, it's okay to have activities with home on weekends, with kids on weekends. It's okay to sit down. It's okay to... I started embracing cooling down and staying still and listening to my devils whenever they come. And now working on staying home, staying still, having time to look at ourselves. Okay? Yeah. So when it comes to femininity, what has been your personal experience into embracing you as a woman, self-loving yourself, despite those inner fight that you have someone... There's something that comes, I don't know if it comes to you or to you to tell you, Alice, you're not good enough. You can't keep a man. Because of those societal things that happens, that when you divorce, it is merely the woman's fault to not keep a marriage or to not be patient enough. What has been your experience of I'm allowing myself to have self-love first and not criticizing myself, not always thinking that I've never done enough, I've never given enough chances?
I think for me it's support.
Yeah.
I have friends who are waiting at the door. They were ready. They're like, you're for real now, you're ready. So I think I was my weakest link.
Yeah.
But I had amazing support. So that kept me going. I think I am I'm choleric, so I'm driven, I'm ambitious, I'm and so at some point it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like we have to keep it moving.
True.
I'm that kind of girl. And so that's, for me, I find myself in, regardless of the situation, the wheels keep turning. I remember one Sunday I woke up, and then my children woke up in the room and I was like, oh God, you've decided we're doing life. And so we're doing life. So I think primarily I would echo support to keep myself sane. And basically, I think the biggest has been support. Have I felt, oh, you couldn't, Nini, you were left, you were, all these societal things?
Yeah.
I have, but essentially when I was in it.
Yes.
The thing about emotional abuse, it's your abuser plays with your psychic.
Yes,
you
true.
know? Yeah. So when you're internally, when I'm there, when I'm your slave, for instance, or your, then I am bound with such things. If you leave, now for me, a lot of it was, if you go, then you will have failed.
Yes.
Then now, when it eventually did happen, it's not, Sin, I have failed.
Yeah.
Me, I have failed. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about the feelings you felt,
Yes.
I think for me, the biggest feeling has always been, I want to go back and hug that Wangu. Like, what does she know?
Yes.
And it's two ways. No one is perfect. So also in my mistakes, what did I know?
Yes.
Yes. But you're trying to judge yourself with so much, but I give myself grace. I always go back. Somehow, I think it's through therapy. It's through doing hard things I've also found doing hard things really keeps me
Busy.
proud of myself.
Oh yeah.
Doing hard things, keeping my word, doing physically hard things.
Yes.
We were talking about hiking earlier where we
Yes.
met.
Yeah.
Just doing like, gosh, I'm finished, like we're done.
Yeah.
There's such a feeling of accomplishment that gives me to myself. Yeah. And so it's sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm always chasing the things that I do that make me know I'm proud of myself. But it's something I learned very late because I don't think women were taught to be proud of themselves,
Yes.
or rather not given permission. You're not given permission to be proud of what you do. And if someone is shouting so much about you, you're like, you'd rather be, someone will try to like relax. We can see you're doing well. No.
It's like the new series in Bridgerton where the woman is saying, "How about my dreams?" And the mother say, "Women don't have dreams.
Yeah,
they have to have husbands." Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I felt about that video. It's like, we're not saying husbands are bad, but imagine a husband and then dreams and then they're all working.
But I feel like this trend of femininity that teaches dependence, that teaches soft girl life, is
and
more
is that femininity? Is Bridgerton feminine?
No, it's not. But that trend of femininity is more leaning toward what the mother was saying, that you don't have to have a dream when you have a husband. That like a husband is the end goal of it. And I think when now it fails in a relationship, we feel like we have lost it.
And I feel that's where family and society struggle with.
True, I agree.
Because, and maybe as the abuser or the abuse, because even babes are bad.
Yes.
As the person in the bad situation that needs to end, the bad marriage that needs to be over, then you need to be out. Or if it's physically abusive, you have heard, you have read, that, the next hitting could be your final life.
Yes.
Like we know the whatever.
Yes.
But I don't think it's the notion of what you've said, that's what your family struggles with, because without, there are stages of life, and then without marriage, what are we?
Yeah,
what is our society? What is our family? That's where the shame. That's how you find people who've been put to shame. That's the logic they use.
Yeah, and I think within our age, marriage was still like a merit. Like we have reached a certain age. Are you married? Are you this? It's like nowadays, I think young generation are more understood because of the diversity, inclusion, understanding people's sexual orientation and preferences. We never had that privilege in our age. Growing, actually, I don't know how is it in Kenya, but in Rwanda, when you are graduating university, that's the time you're supposed to introduce your boyfriend or fiance within the family.
What happens if you graduate and you don't have?
The boyfriend, that's the unwritten rule. The boyfriend is supposed to be the one giving you the flowers.
So what if you don't have a boyfriend?
What if I don't have a boyfriend?
Thank you. When you don't have a boyfriend, your parents will give you the flower. So after the graduation, now
we all know you don't have a boyfriend.
Imagine.
Before the graduation, the pressure is already boiling.
Yeah, for you to grab anybody.
So you will have to even start grabbing whoever is so close to show you and to do that. I think not to justify any decision that we have made that was wrong. It is just to see the different pressures that arise around us basing on the era and the season that we are in. Now, divorce is something that is understood. Before, people would even say, go back. That is how...
That's how men are. That's how marriage is.
Yeah.
Vumilia.
Well,
in Kikuyu, they say, Mutumia Agatha. Like a virtuous Proverbs 31 woman. Vumilia. Like how can you leave a marriage?
Myself, I didn't have anybody really to pressure me because I was already an orphan. The people in my family were my uncles, my sisters. They were the one who were the support system that is ready there at the door. Are you ready? We go. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think I was much so hard on myself, basing on that I cannot fail. This is another thing. If you are a performer from a young age,
Yeah.
you have been having A plus in your life, you always think that marriage is like that. So you hold into a dead horse, even if it is dead, until it is rottening in your fingers.
Until the horse leaves.
Yes.
That's when you're free.
Until the tail falls
Falls
off
off and
you,
the feet.
yeah, and the feet, and you see like,
Yeah.
okay, it's actually dead.
Yeah.
But I think we were, I don't know how it is in Rwanda, but in Kenya, we are not, or rather, maybe let me say generally, so that people don't misquote me.
Yeah.
But I don't think we are deliberately taught
Yeah.
that there's a difference between being married and excelling in your career or in your education. Because they're all different.
They are all different, but it is your brain, I think. It is our personal brain, how we are wired. Because you have not encountered failure, you don't know how to deal with failure.
But also society,
Yeah.
like say in Kenya, for instance, you'll find women accused of being, she's growing, her business is really thriving, but she's not married. There's always like a but, especially if your marriage doesn't work. And that's why sometimes you find that you can hide in a bad marriage just because
That's what is accepted.
That's what is accepted.
you get. So no one necessarily will tell you, but people will judge you. People will judge your...
So that will take me to the next question. What has really helped you build confidence through that transition? Regardless of what people think, what they say, regardless of your internal fights, how do you still go up and build that confidence of saying, you know what, I got one life, I have to defend it, I have to make intentional decisions, I have to run back to my inner self.
One of the things that woke me up was when I realized that society does not pay my bills.
True.
Society does not take my children to hospital at night when they're unwell. Society will not pay my legal fees when I needed to be in court. Like when I realized that all this stops with me and my support system, which initially was my mother and my sister, who are like, you're ready to go, we are going now, you know. And when I started now to just survey the people who rallied around me around that very painful season, and those became my society, then the other voices for me stopped mattering. And I think those are not even the most hard things to deal with. It's your own internal voice. That voice that tells you have failed. How could you allow this to happen for so long? How come you never saw this? Why did you stay this long? And now dealing with that, why did you put up with it? Like, surely, Sonnie, you need to know better. You yourself, a whole dream masters, graduate. How are you not able to see this? Why did you stay this long? You know, and many times for us, we stay mostly because we convince ourselves it's good for the children, or, you know, whatever societal pressure you may be undergoing, or family pressure or whatever. But when I realized that those people did not have my back, they can talk until evening, but when I need somebody to have my back, I had very few people around me to do that. Then I started just shutting out those voices deliberately, and leaning on the people who are there to offer support for me. And above all, especially as you're talking about being a performer, for us who are firstborns, like you're just used to being the one to set a good example. You know, you can have no flaw. You can not be having a broken marriage. How? As a firstborn. So
you're killing the trail.
How? Like, how are the rest supposed to...
Utambia
watu nini? You know, what will you tell people? And I remember I would joke with my mom a lot. And she would say, I'm not even going to tell people that this happened. Like, you know, like it's even something that you cannot discuss because
it's embarrassing.
So once you're able to isolate, you know, put your pieces of your puzzle out on the table and isolate, are these pieces fitting into my current season? If you're able to do that, I think finally you now eliminate those outside critical voices Then now you enter your own critical voice and tell yourself, okay, yeah, I didn't say this, I forgive myself. I didn't say this, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll see how to see it better next time. You start being gentle and more caring to yourself, because if you don't do that, you will overly, and it will come out
Yes.
in who you are. You know,
Yes.
you'll be a very critical person, a very
Yes.
pessimistic, a very cynical.
Yes.
And pain and divorce can make you a very cynical person.
Yes,
And I think
true.
that's why there's even the stereotype of divorced women, that they would typically say that divorced women are angry and bitter. But it's not because they want to be that way. It's just what they have gone through out of your, if you're a Christian, the Bible says that from the
Depth of your heart.
what does it say? It says where your treasure is, where your heart is, where your treasure is. I'm paraphrasing. It will come out even if
Yes.
you're not willing.
Yeah.
Something will happen, like even the current in Kenya now, we're having this whole protest around the finance bill. You'll say something and people will immediately pick up on, she's bitter.
Yeah.
You didn't mean to, but the way you say
the
it,
bitterness is so
it's just,
overpowering.
it is so overpowering. It will just come out of everything. Whether you're commenting about the finance bill, whether you're commenting about
anything,
even a fellow woman, you see someone, you can't even compliment them. You just remove a comment, and then when the person reacts, you say, it was just a joke. Like, why are you so dramatic? No, you are rude. You are rude in the way you said it.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think just eliminate the external critical voices if you, as much as you can. Some you may not be able to, but especially internally. I think the internal voice is the one that's loudest. For me, it was the loudest, because I couldn't imagine that I'd failed myself. I'd not only failed myself, I had failed my siblings. I'd failed my younger cousins.
You mean not setting a good example of a
Yeah,
good
not
working
setting of a
marriage?
good working marriage,
Okay.
as a good working marriage, as a person who vumilias, who is able to vumilia, is able to stay, keep their home.
Yeah.
Like now,
What is it now?
is it? Why are you not able
what
to
am
do
I
that?
role modeling?
What are you role modeling?
Okay.
So now then, at least I went back to school as a way to cope. I remember when you mentioned going back to school.
Yeah.
And back to school as a way to also cope.
Yeah.
And just to broaden my...
I think it was a way also to like keep showing relevance, to make sure that you are always above everything else.
I don't think that's why. I think it was just trying to grow myself. Like, okay, I've dropped
Has
this ball.
failed, yeah.
Let me see which other balls to pick up on.
Yeah. Speaking on coping mechanism, building back confidence, what do you think? What do you feel? What is your take on kuoga na kurudi soko? Like, I've jumped from this marriage. Let me go back to the dating scene immediately, because that's the tendency many women do after breakups. You feel like you have to jump on another relationship to silence your inner chaos, or to justify relevance, that I'm still beautiful. Even if this didn't work, I'm still dateable. What do you feel of kuoga na kurudi soko?
I think it's for heal. My opinion is heal.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going if you don't heal. It takes two people to make a bad marriage.
Yes.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yes.
It's not bad because Wangu is a saint and her ex-partner is the devil.
The devil, yeah.
No, it takes... there's so much, and consider if you got married from quote unquote rite of passage, because as you said, the guy needs to give me flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us went into this thing
because
as
of pressure.
It's the next thing to do in life. And even if there's no pressure, there was the chronological way life is done.
The way life is done.
And then, so it takes two people to be, even in a toxic workplace.
Yeah.
There's you, the receiver of that toxicity. There's a problem.
There is also some amount of toxicity in you
the problem
that
is not only on
that.
the giver. Why are you taking? Why are you the one receiving? Why are you the only person receiving? Why are you the victim in the situation? So I think my opinion on that is just take however long it takes to heal. Take however long it takes to smile from genuinely in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as they said, they are getting shuffled,
Yes.
and we shall meet Ukombele.
Yes, true.
But
I agree.
I'm not of the school of thought. I think, yes, please get out, date again.
Yeah.
I don't think the end of a marriage is the end of life.
Yes, true.
I think we don't want to grow old alone.
Yes.
So we're going to find people and
Yes.
marry them or partner up later.
Yes.
But I want to heal and meet the
When
next
you are
one.
ready.
I mean, I was young. I don't even know who I've evolved to. I've become a mother. I've become a what. And for a long time, I couldn't define myself without roles.
Oh, yeah.
Can I get to know me as well?
Yeah.
So I've come to be of the school of thought, let's heal, let's not jump into the next same thing, because you've removed your toxic recipients. I mean, you've removed yourself from, let's imagine that we are the angels and they
Yes.
were the bad people. So even that bad person, there was a role you were playing. So if you
Yes.
don't take enough time to heal, you'll still take that role you are playing into the next situation.
next
So you'll end up in another abusive situation.
I
So to be
agree.
honest, I'm the drama
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah.
So without stopping to heal and
Yes.
taking time to meet yourself,
Yeah.
be in your, sleep.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can sleep a whole night and wake up with a smile, my
Yes.
God, sleep.
Yes, true.
Until you get there,
Yeah.
stay by yourself. But also have friends. Like I
Yes.
feel like don't sit in your corner alone. I refuse aloneness. Have community. Go to your support system. It could be at church. It could even be in the bar.
Yes.
It provides a healing.
Yeah.
That whole we drank, we cried, we went home.
Yes.
There's something that's happening. That process is also not a bad process to be part of. You'll wake up. Okay, unfortunately,
Yeah.
there are people who don't get out of it.
Yeah.
But be in spaces to heal first. Don't be in a rush to before you meet yourself and before you reinvent to your new self. Don't be in a hurry to get into another relationship.
If you jump into a relationship from one relationship to another one, that is actually a masculine approach, because you want to justify relevance. You want to prove how pretty and beautiful you are. You want life to move on. You don't accept the seasons as they come. You want to rush results. And in the process, you will also bleed to different
You
people.
bleed, yeah.
Yeah,
I actually tried dating.
Okay.
Me too.
Immediately
go ahead.
after.
Yes.
No. Like after divorce, I met somebody who I'd known for a while, and when he asked me out, I was like, actually, it's okay. We could see. And he was also divorced. But what I realized is that I became it's like he was just re-triggering me all over again.
Exactly.
No,
That's what I wanted to say.
Like he would say something,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that sounds like my ex. You know, or you do something, I'm like, like it became such a trigger, and that's when it hit me that, oh, okay,
You need to heal.
pull back a bit,
Yes.
and then when he did something quite something I thought was really wrong to me, but now what I noticed now I think also if you're trying to date after divorce, be kind to yourself also, because sometimes we shy off for too long. And some of these things will need practice. Like for some of us who are married for so long, you barely even know how to respond to a compliment, by a man, or be asked out on a date. Like, what do you want? But guy, maybe he's just trying. He likes
told good morning. You're like, what's the point of the message?
What are you telling me?
Go deep.
Explain yourself, 10 marks. But I think also be kind, like be open to even somebody asking out. Because if you haven't been in the circle for a while, you'll need retraining. And sometimes retraining is in the actual dating.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so if it doesn't work, sawa, move on, try. Yeah.
I experienced something different though, because I think I was still in my masculine. So what I did after trying to settle and finding my space and all that, there is that demon in me that still wanted to justify relevance, that I can't be dated. I'm pretty. I'm nice. So I felt that I fall into flirting flirting. You call it
Flirting.
flirting. Yeah, in
yes.
French we call it flirting with men, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy how men are responding. That how I'm free. I'm going on a date here, going on a date there. There is nothing really relevant, and I think when you are also dating in without an objective, you are wasting your time with 2, 3, 4, 5 people, thinking like you are sampling or enlarging your spectrum of choices. But there is nothing that is going deep because you are on the surface level and you are always looking for red flags. Like,
I know. But you don't have the energy.
you don't
though.
have the energy, and you can't also, because you're in pain, you can't easily read good intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are so familiar with pain, you're so
Yeah.
familiar with hurtful things. So anything that is positive, you doubt it. So anybody who would come and show good intentions, you will double check. You will just, what is the catch? What do you really want?
What do you want?
What do you really want? When I met my current partner, I was in that space. This guy really suffered. Oh, I'm sorry. Because he met me with that in that space where I'm juggling. I'm trying to justify my relevance in relationships, and I'm not allowing him the space that he needs to also showcase that he can be a man, that he can provide. Because entering my second relationship, I came with that energy. This one must work.
Come rain or sunshine.
Yes.
You're
So
not reporting
high
I'm
water.
not,
a failure.
I'm not
again.
again. So you see, coming with that space, you
Oh my God,
now there is
that's
over
pressure.
So much pressure.
Yes.
That's worse pressure than the first time.
Yes, there is now that
Yeah.
personal internal chaos that you are
Yeah.
coming in with,
Yeah.
of thinking that, Alice, this is the time to prove that you are not the wrong one.
Oh my.
Yes. So you have to
Wow.
over deliver. Oh,
To
God.
who? Who are you over
Are you
delivering
delivering to him
To
or
To yourself and
anybody?
to
Or anyone?
society.
To anybody. To myself
Wow.
first.
And
I
then
have to silence my inner chaos of proving that actually I'm a lovable wife. I can do good
keep her
things. I can
home.
keep her home. I can do this. And when you do that, what are the things that you do that are beyond your real you? You understand? What are the things that, if let's just put it right. I'm a person who doesn't like making my bed. That's not me, because as a child, as a firstborn, my first duty was to make all the beds at home. So I
Yeah.
grew up hating making my bed. When I started making my own money, it stopped being a duty. In my first marriage, it didn't work because my man wanted his bed to be done by the wife. No one enters our room, no one touches our bed sheet, no one, like such a skeptical thing. When it failed, I said, oh, come on, now no need to do that. When
Now
I
you're
came
washing your own bed sheets.
when I came to my second marriage with that performance behavior, I say, now, leave alone making the bed. I will also put swans. I will,
Perfume the bed.
no, leave alone perfume. There's a way you put towels in swan like this.
Yes.
Oh,
Like
like
hotel.
the
Like a
hotel.
hotel.
Yes, you put such a things. Yeah, it has happened for nearly like a month. Then the next month I
It wasn't sustainable.
Sustainable. What if all the towels are wet?
No,
I
it's just a lot of work.
we did like couple game, like those games people do play. What would you do if you are yourself? What
Yeah.
would you do? That's such a things. So when we are doing that game, I say, God, I'm going to say this. Either it is going to work or not working, but let me say it. So I told him, you know what? I don't remember the question exactly, but my answer was like, if I was free to do whatever I want in this marriage, I will not make my bed. I will not make breakfast. And those were my two. I will not make breakfast. I will not cook, and I will not make my bed. And also, he also say what he will,
Yeah.
he will not do. And just out of that question, and he told me, by the way, if you don't like making your bed,
Don't.
Don't.
Yeah. Why do you feel like you have to do? And to me, that was a very big green flag, because I came to see that someone who can understand you and not criticize you. And it was like the first avenue for me to start opening up to him and tell him what I don't like doing, what I'm not happy doing. And 10 years down the line, I still don't make my bed and I don't feel less feminine because I don't do that. He can do it when he's there. Our nannies can do it. And I'm okay with that. So I found justification around him being a married woman or being a feminine woman in other things.
And you had the time to do the things you enjoy
Yes,
around femininity.
yes, around femininity, like
Yeah.
being the nurturer of the home,
Yeah.
being the one maybe advising what we need to be doing and all that, being a child who has been into managerial situation since
Since
16.
Yeah.
Not since birth, since 16. That's when I started managing. I have more experience in home management, finance management, and all that. And he gave me that grace. So it was a better way of gaining back the confidence and the voice to voice what you don't like
Yeah.
and advocate for what you want. So what are other experiences that you have, like positive steps that you had to take to actually normalize feminine, not necessarily taking it as a weakness or as something that people would criticize you about? What are the tangible steps that you took in your personal life?
I think one was just realize the things I like to do.
Yes.
So one of them is working out.
Yes.
So I started to work out. And it was not only an issue about being feminine. First, I needed to be healthy.
Yes.
To be able to do everything that I needed to do suddenly on my own. So I would work out. I started having deliberate steps of doing the things I enjoy, make my hair, make my nails. And those are outward. Take a walk when you need to sleep, if you need to meet your friends, if you need to, your family, all that. But now internally, I relied a lot on prayer and therapy.
Yes.
Just to deal with all those things I was talking about, being criticizing myself all the time, being so hard on myself. I needed somebody to tell me, but who remembers Sonnie? It sounds like such an obvious question.
Yes.
But when someone asks you, so was Sonnie prioritized?
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, was she prioritized? Or
No,
did I
she
remember everybody as
wasn't.
she wasn't? So now I started listening to that and just trying to see how to prioritize myself. Yeah. Another step, obviously, for me was going back to school. I realized that now I needed better accreditation and to position myself better in my career and in other things I'd want to do. So I went back to school. I graduated with my master's then in law. Then later on, I was like, actually, therapy was so instrumental. Let me go back and do psychology. So that's what I'm doing now. And then just trying to see how to prioritize my children. In the middle of divorce, children sort of fall through the cracks somehow.
Yes. Oh, talk about that.
Yeah, they really fall through the cracks. And you can just assume them because sometimes they are young. Or even if they are teenagers, you can assume, they're going to school. They are eating. They are sleeping.
Their basic needs
Their
are
basic
met.
needs are
Yeah.
met. So you can, because you're hurting, you can shut down. And the people who suffer the most are the closest people
kids.
to you. And I think the children suffer the most. And I remember my children would make comments like my little one, she's turning 9, she would turn my face. You're not looking at me. You're not listening. I tell her, I'm listening with my ears. She's like, no, you're not listening. So I had to train myself to, when I'm talking to
present.
you, be present. And that's part of being present. Look at me. You're not listening. Being present, stop multitasking. I'm a big multitasker, especially when I'm trying to cope with what is going on. So I'm in the house, but I'm not there. So I started shutting down when I get home, prioritizing my children, prioritizing myself, making sure we have things we do together deliberately, not just going to school and coming back home. So we started working out together. We would even do, we'd work out together and just do deliberate things for the weekend together. Yeah, so I think it's a lot if you don't adequately plan and adequately prioritize. Because many times you're there, unless you're co-parenting, I know there are people who are able to do that quite well. For us, it didn't work. So I was like the primary person who's present for the children. So if you are the primary person, then that means you really have to cut yourself up into so many pieces and still remain whole. So it sounds like an oxymoron, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because
it is.
you have to be everywhere doing
Yeah.
excellently. At work, I'm expected to perform. I have targets. My employer expects certain things from me. In my family, I'm the firstborn. There are things that people are expecting from me. My children are expecting from me. My friendships, my own personal life. So it's like you're cutting yourself up into different pieces, but at the same time, you have to
deliver
You have to
whole.
deliver whole. So I think that's a lot of pressure. But if you're able to adequately plan and adequately just see how to sequence those activities, and I think you'll do well. A big one for me also is journaling. I really love to journal. I carry my journal around with me all the time, just to ask myself, why do you feel this way? Why did you react this way? Why did that make you feel that way? You know, I'm always having that conversation with myself. If someone says something and I feel angry, why are you feeling angry? It's just somebody on social media, for example. Where has that triggered you? Is it something I need to deal with? Then obviously I do that. I also have a personal relationship with your therapist. If you're into therapy, I think it's big for me. Have good coaches like Alice, who are your accountability partner, and they're able to just tell you, Sonnie, maybe you could do this or do this, and just be accountable.
Yeah, true. And how about you? What has it been that you have to give yourself that amount of grace that we are not necessarily fetching elsewhere? What would you say has been your journey? And also, as we summarize, what would you tell another woman in that space where you are before? What would you tell yourself, knowing what you know right now?
Ooh.
Do we have tissue?
Back then, yeah.
Let me start with what I would tell myself.
Yes. 10 years back.
Oh my God, 10 years back.
Yes.
I would tell myself it's okay. 10 years back, you don't have to, it's okay not to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's okay that you're in a mess and you're not figuring out what your situation is. Another thing I would tell myself is you have done your best. You have done your best. You've given. It's okay not to give anymore. It's okay to say no. It's okay to stop. It's okay to breathe. It's okay to ask for half time. Let's take a break. Yeah. Let's breathe. I would tell myself that. Another thing I would tell myself is, imagine no one spends the whole day thinking about you and your situation.
True. I
relax.
agree. Yeah.
Do it for you. No one, contrary to popular belief,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about you now that we are talking.
Yeah.
After this, I have something.
Yes.
And then I'll think about you when I remember something we need to do or we need to have. So no one is actively in a corner somewhere just thinking about you.
True.
I know it's different in social media because sometimes if people come and give you bad comments, you imagine, no, they're thinking about you at that moment when they've seen something and they've written and they've moved on.
Yeah, true.
So it's just, even you, just don't dwell on others. Just look internally. Something I did that gave me a lot of grace was therapy and journaling. So I would ask a younger lady, go to therapy, include your children. When you're talking and we said people stay for their children, what they don't realize is it's sometimes, depending on how bad the situation is, there's more damage already done. Yeah. So as you're healing, you have to take your children to healing. You have to give them healing avenues. And nowadays you listen to people, a lot of their wounds are about their childhood, you know? So help your children heal, take them to therapy, let them know where to, let them also start healing. A broken marriage or a broken home, even the children had a dream.
Yeah, true. I agree. Yes,
even the children, it's nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it happens and it is what it is. So heal with the ecosystem. Yeah. And I would say just find stuff that you love and do those. and they're gonna change in different season. If you're into the outdoors, be in the woods, walk, hike, just find stuff that you love and do it doesn't matter how many, oh my God, some of us hiked. It doesn't matter how many trails you shall find in this our city or wherever, but hike and then do something for the next person. I found that giving back and being in spaces where you go to rescues and you sometimes it's good to realize that in the grand scheme of the whole world, your problem is just
Yeah.
a dot.
Yes, true.
And that puts you back in perspective. I know it did for me. It put me back. It's in my world, it's big.
Yeah.
But in the world, I'm just a dot. So you just realize there's more to life. And that it gives me it made me just be able to now wake up and, like I'm just a dot. It might be black today. Let's put a new color. And that it gave me psych to just
Yeah.
and it still does.
And
Yeah.
that marks the final to our today episode. It was really deep, maybe long, because we had to go deep into different layers of how divorce affects us as women and different measures that we took to heal and to give ourselves a different perspective, a different lens on seeing and viewing life. And I would say that when you are in this space as well, maybe you are transitioning, maybe you are contemplating divorce, maybe you are contemplating separation, or maybe you have already done it, you are into this space of feeling angry, anger, self-doubt, and all that. All that is expected and is acceptable.
Yeah.
Accept the space you're in and give yourself the grace that you need so that you can heal. What we advise you as big sisters, don't ever try to bleed on people who didn't hurt you. So allow yourself the healing that you need. Allow the children that you're with to heal. Carry them with you. And there is a lot more to discover. If you accept to become more fluid with life, many opportunities will come. Many beautiful and handsome lovers will come.
Yes.
And you will enjoy life again and again. Thank you and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice.